So I can even just do this. How do they walk in? Okay. I can literally go like this. Okay, well, I didn't mean for that to root, but here, let's get this guy out of here. But literally, like, let's say, you know, we're finishing a Drake or something, right? You can literally just do one of these, one of these, one of those. I fucked it. I fucked it. Hold on. Let me get this dragon off me. All right, let's go to Baron. All right. You can literally just go one of these, and one of these. Look how much space you cover with 2 abilities. What is that? What is that? So, everyone knows his shit, but I'll go over it quick, okay? Hwei. Alright, his passive. You land 2 abilities. It creates an explosion on top of fucking the enemy champion. It needs to be 2 abilities on an enemy champion. Creates an explosion, dealing fucking magic damage. That's 30% scaling. That's really good. And that's like super important to your late game damage, I think. Right? Your Q, you have 3 Qs. You have QE, QQ, and QW. QE is like this line thing, right? Fucking... Right? It does damage, it slows for 30%. And it does damage over time. It's basically, how I describe it, a mini Rumble R. So you have a Rumble R on your basic ability that late game is in like a 5-second cooldown. That's fucking wild. Alright? Your QW is the lightning bolt. It has crazy range, right? And anyone who lands in it, it does bonus damage on them if they are either isolated or immobilized, right? So CC'd or alone. And it does bonus damage based on their, sorry, I was doing the wrong one. Based on their missing health. So it's an execute, okay? That's important, and I'll get to that later. And then QQ is basically Karma Q, but it also does 4% max health damage, which used to be, scales up to 6%. Okay. I was going to say it used to be 8%, but now it's 6% scaling. All right. Your W is your utility. So your WQ is just a river of movement speed that scales with AP and lasts, the duration goes up when you fucking level it, I guess. I didn't know that. Your WW is an area that shields you and allies around you. This late game, because it scales with AP, it's 60% scaling with AP, by the way, does so much fucking shielding late game that you can just throw it on your team, and it does so much. Allies receive 50% less shields, so they get reduced shielding, but because of your AP scaling, like on you, it's like a 700 shield late game, and on other people, it's like fucking 400 still. It's a ridiculous amount of shielding. I think it's crazy. And then your WE is just bonus damage on any auto or ability hit, and it also gives you back mana for those hits. That mana restore goes up with levels. I didn't know that. But it also gives you the mana, and then it counts as your fucking passive proc, right, for your damage. So there's that. So when you use it, it gives you 3 procs of bonus damage on either an ability or an auto, giving you 45 mana, excuse me, each hit, which means you get more mana back than you use, because you use 90 mana and you get back 135. Alright. And then your E is your CC ability. You have your Q, which is just a line that fears for a second. It's a flat fear. It does this. All of these do the same amount of damage, by the way. Then you have a W. Your W's range is fucking actually like abnormally large. This thing is crazy. So you can throw it all the way out here, and then it takes up a circle. So I'm here, like I'm here. Let's see. So this is where I ended up. I'm here, and it affects all the way out to here. That's crazy. That's your longest form of CC. If anyone stands in it, it takes a while to set up, but if anyone stands in it, a root follows them, and it's your longest form of CC, scaling up to 2 seconds. That's a long ass time. That's like 2/3 of a Morgana root. That's crazy. And it's just a good zoning tool. They did originally have it where it lasted around like a second on the ground. Now it lasts 2 seconds. So you can zone that whole space for 2 seconds, which is really important for places like this, you know? Sorry. I'm still also relatively new, so I'm getting used to this shit. But like, you know, you can just basically say you can't walk through there for 2 seconds. And if you do, then you get a free execute because they're immobilized, right? All right, and then your EE which is like this little kind of claw thing. It pulls them in and it slows them. The slow is more important. The slow scales. The slow ends up at like 70%. Again, all of these do the same damage. This one, this one is single target. This one is single target, but this one is AoE. So that's also important. It's good for clearing and shit. Alright. Now that I've gotten into that, I've seen a lot of people doing certain combos, okay? Hold on. I've seen a lot of people doing like certain combos with this guy. They've been doing, this is a really classic one for like, because normally the minion wave comes around here, right? And you know, the minion wave's like here in this line, and the fucking enemy champion's gonna be here. And often you throw your QE, because it's AoE damage. So you do that, but oftentimes you do that on the like the minion wave, and the people stand to the side of it, because it's really fucking slow and obvious and easy to juke. So let's throw this guy over here, you know? So a super easy combo I've seen people do is QE into EE, and it like pulls them in to then hit your fucking thing. Now, to note that your EE slows, so that slows, and your QE slows. So you kind of get to like keep them in that QE, which does the most damage flat of all your abilities, by the way. So your QE does the most damage if they're in the whole thing. Your QQ does slightly less. Late game, it'll do more damage if they have a lot of max health because of the max health scaling. But your QE is the most damage if they're in the whole thing. Besides your QW being the execute, right? And that's only if they're low health. So, I've seen a lot of people, so the first combo is like this one, right? The, sorry, I'm not used to the mage. And I still fucked it up. Right? Like that, so you pull them into it or whatever. This is also, by the way, like my first time. I went in a practice tool for about 4 seconds to run through these things because I wanted to like clarify. So this is really my first time playing it. But I saw a lot of people were do the EW into QW combo. Like this. Okay, lightning bolt. Sick, right? And as you get higher levels, which we'll go to like 11 or 12. Right? As you get more levels, this route lasts such a long time. Look at all that time you have. It's crazy. But the CC on both of your other abilities, including the fear, don't go up. It's just the damage. So the fear goes up. So what I've seen a lot of people doing is they've been looking for things like this with the W. But I haven't seen a single person, and I don't know why. I haven't seen a single person, because your QW does execute damage only if they're isolated or they're CC'd, okay? So they can be like this, and both of these bitches can be standing on each other. And if I QW, well, it's not gonna do that execute damage. It's not gonna do the extra damage based on their missing health, because they're not isolated or CC'd. But because this is really easy to juke and hard to land, and you can't really put it on one person, there it did the bonus damage on this guy, but not on this guy, right? I don't know why no one's been doing the EQ into QE or QW. So EQ is your fear into QW. So your fear is fucking slow. It's so slow. Pay to win skin? Is that the fucking... I'll look at that after in 1 second. The EQ, right? It's literally like a Morgana Q. It's slow as a fuck. It's super slow. So it comes out really slow, which sucks because it's kind of hard to hit. But the advantage that you have is that if you hit it, it gives you time to set up your QW, and then they're CC'd. So then that counts as the execute damage. So let's say they're in a minion wave, or whatever, and I manage to get one of those. I can throw the QW in that time, and it does extra damage. And no one's been doing that. And I don't know why. Like, everyone's always just, like, waiting for them to be isolated, waiting for whatever. But no one would do that. It's a true combo, right? And let's say they have tenacity, okay? The fear is going to last, like, 0.8 seconds, 0.6 seconds, right? It's going to be less. You can do it, because it's such a slow ability, where I threw the W before the fear even hit him. So, like, if you know it's going to land, which, like, in a lot of cases you don't, so wasting your W, your Q ability, you know, while wasting your Q ability while not knowing it's going to land, like not guaranteeing it's going to land, is risky. So if you know it's going to land, like let's say they're in a choke or something or whatever, super fucking good. Again, kind of hard to land this Fear from so far. But that combo is something that's possible. I don't think it's going to be used all the time because it's so hard to land. But, you know, I haven't seen people use it once or even talk about it, which is crazy. So your WE does this, like, whatever. So that, as well as, like, any other ability, procs your passive. You can proc that passive, by the way. It has no cooldown for champions. So you can actually do that passive on 2 people at once. And what it will do is it procs the passive on both of them. But that explosion is AoE. So that explosion is going to do damage on top of both of them. So it's not only doing the passive damage to each of them, but it's doing the passive damage from the other person to each of them. So late game, if you get something like this, where there are 3 people here, and you just have like this type thing, right? That's 3 procs of your passive, all stacked on top of each other. So the AoE damage potential is actually huge, which makes this person, like this champion, such a big late game zone control kind of champion. Which, you know, is because of, obviously, you have your QE, which is basically, like I said, a small rumble R. I fucked it up because I'm not used to whatever. Your QE, so you can throw down a small rumble R, which slows for 30%. Yeah, without items. Yeah, crazy. Fucked. Literally don't have items. This is from just this. It's fucked. It's so fucked. So your zone control is you have this QE, which, by the way, this gets to like a 5-second cooldown. Yeah, roughly. With ability haste, it's like 4 and a bit. So it's your only damaging ability, really. Well, no, it's not, but like it's your damage ability. It's your main source of damage. So because it's actually on that long of a cooldown, you kind of have to play things really slow. Because if a Zed comes on, like jumps on top of you and all ins, there's not much that you can do if you don't have like any damaging ability to answer with. But anyway, you have your fucking, right, your QE. So you have this for zone control. You have your WW for shielding your entire team. Think about like a grouped up team fight here. You're at the fucking Baron pit. The enemy team want to come in. You throw one of these down. Your ADC stands on it. And like you stand like kind of here. Your front line's probably up here. Your ADC's back here. Whatever. And you throw this down as they're engaging. Late game, the amount of shielding that it does is so fucked. You can get like 400 shielding on everyone on your team potentially, which is wild. All right, and now we'll talk about the R. The R is, it's kind of like Aphelios in that you need to land it or else it's useless, right? It's not an ability that you can just throw down. It's not for zoning. It's like if you throw it over here, it's gone. And it did nothing. It will not do any damage. It does dick all. It sucks. But if you land it on a champion, it does this damage, right? This AoE damage. And it slows everyone in this circle. So it's kind of like you don't want to be in it. Yeah, it's a lot to kind of grasp, which is why I was like, I haven't even played it. I haven't even played it in a game. I was too lazy to go on the PPE. I haven't even played it. So this is all just potential stuff that I've been like cooking up in my head from watching all this, right? So your R, right? It does this AoE damage that slows over time. The damage that it does at the start, it kind of sucks. So the AoE damage. And then the vision shatters, dealing burst damage. Now, I actually don't even know if that burst damage is AoE. It is. So it does burst damage to everyone in that zone, which is really nice. Yeah, I'm going to pick him up. I think I'm going to start, like, trying to main him. Like, I really fuck with this champion. I really fuck with it. But anyway. Right? So you can do things like that, and that'll stack the slows, and they can, like, barely move. That's from the passive damage. That did 1,500 to all of them with no fucking items at level 12. Granted, it's a 2 points R and fully max Q. That was all that was. QE, R. Now, it's only because they were stood in every tick of that E, QE, which again is the most damage possible. Because it does 105 and then 104, blah, 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 whatever. And then it's also the 3 passive stacks all on top of each other. And because they're standing on top of each other, like, they fucking all proc on each other, right? So not only is this 134 being dealt to the one dummy, but it's also being dealt to the other one and the other one. And that 134 is being dealt, like, oh man, hold on. How do I explain this? I'm an idiot, so I need to, like, explain it in a certain way. Okay? So this does this explosion, right? It does the 134 to him because he's in that explosion. But here, there's no cooldown on it. So here, it'll proc 3 explosions. So it'll do 134 times 3 on all of them for no fucking reason. It's so much. So like late game, if their team is ever grouped up, ever, like your job basically as this champion is break up the fucking team. Break up the team. We're here, okay? You know, let's say we're all here. Their team is kind of all on this side, whatever. You can just throw a fucking rumble R at them. If they want to walk through that, that's going to slow, you know, as they're engaging, right? So let's say one of them engages. You throw a fucking rumble R at them. The people who are going to follow up engage are going to be slowed. And they're going to take a bunch of damage that they have to be willing to walk in because their other teammate engaged. And right as you do that, you can also throw the shield. The amount of fucking damage value that you get, not only from dealing it, but from shielding, is crazy. And then, if you land your R, which is a big if, because it's like a slow ass, it's basically a Morgana Q, but on an ultimate, and if you miss it, then it does nothing. So that's probably the biggest weakness of this champ, is that if you miss that ability, like, you're missing out on so much, and it literally does nothing. Like, so that, boom, it's like you've never even had R. It's fucked. So don't miss that shit. Don't get it wind walled, none of that. Like, you have to be super, super careful with that ability because it's so important. But anyway, like, QE, WW, I feel like this is going to be the team fight combo. Again, you kind of want to play slow, so you're going to kind of be, like, throwing this stuff out and then just, like, chilling back and, like, waiting for your next cooldown. Because if we look at the cooldowns, right? Mind you, this is without ability haste. This W is also on a long cooldown until you max it. And even when you max it, it's still pretty long. Yeah, I agree. Neferi's like, put on a blindfold, press the R key and then the W key, and then like, yeah, I don't know. No, not my favorite champ. That's true. That's true. The champs have been kind of meh. But I think this one's really, really cool. And then, like, yeah, and then for mid-game, there are also other combos, like the fucking QE. I fucked it because I still, you know, don't really know how to fucking play this champ. QE, EQ, excuse me, QW. Which, like, no one talks about that. There's also zoning control on your EW. So, you know, now we can add a layer to this where it's one of these and then like that. So I can even just do this. How do they walk in? Okay. I can literally go like this. Okay, well, I didn't mean for that to root, but here, let's get this guy out of here. But literally, like, let's say, you know, we're finishing a Drake or something, right? You can literally just do one of these, one of these, one of those. I fucked it. I fucked it. Hold on, let me get this dragon off me. All right, let's go to Baron. All right, you can literally just go one of these, and one of these. Look how much space you cover with 2 abilities. What is that? What is that? Yeah. I think this champion is going to take a while for people to figure it out, including myself. I don't think I'm a master at all. I don't think I'm even, like, good. I still haven't fucking played it. I just think the potential is so crazy. Yeah. Like, it's so much zoning. Like, you can take up a whole river with your abilities and just be like, all right, good luck. Run around it, I guess. Like, it's so much. And the amount of damage that you do is crazy. Anyway, enough talking about that. Fucking, that's the champion. That's why I think he's so strong. I haven't played a game of him, so let's fucking do that.
I don't know why they did this. On the base skin, when I press E, the character becomes purple. Here, it's like a very faint purple. Look, I go W, very faint blue. Look at the Q. Like, Q is not even red at all. Whereas the original skin, like this guy, see red instantly. I know what he's casting. If you want to play this champ, you have to have a skin. I'm not joking. You have to have a skin. I don't know why they did this. On the base skin, when I press E, the character becomes purple. Here, it's like a...
That's interesting. That's interesting. But I think it'll get to the point, to be honest, like when you play the champion and you like play it for real, when you play him over and over, I think it'll get to the point where you don't even sit on that, on like the base ability. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it'll get to the point where you're not even going like Q and then waiting. Where you're just like QE, QW, QQ immediately, you know what I mean?